Everybody, we're here. We're just waiting for the YouTube to catch up. Hey everybody, how you doing? Let's see who all's here. Tasneem, Carol, Jeremy, Pam, Awesome Sauce. Mia's decided she's going to sit on the desk today. She wants to say hi to everybody. She's being a little snobbish though, I think. Say hi to everybody. Look, say hi. Turn around. They don't want to see your butt. Turn around. Turn around. Hey, see. There's me. See? Say hi. Hi. Nope. No candy. Well, you're going to sit on my book again. You're in the way. No, you can't drink my coffee. No, we can't stay up here. You can't stay up here. You got to go on the floor. You got to go on the floor. Why don't you lay down in your bed? Yeah, she's going to be a camera hog, isn't she? Come here, darling. Come on. Let me put you down. Dad, call me up. Go in there and fuss at Dad. Go fuss at Daddy. So, what's everybody doing? Hi, Cynthia. Y'all ready to get started? We got a lot of stuff done. We had to buy a new printer. The printer we got caused a room rearrange because the printer that I had was smaller than this printer, and the cabinet it was sitting on wouldn't hold this printer. So yeah, it was another workaround. That's the life of an RV, but we got it. I do a lot of printing, so but that one lasted almost 7 years, so it was a good one. So I ended up getting the newer version of the old one. So I've always had good response. Wedding prep, oh Lord have mercy. It's going. We went up and saw the kids and the grands, and she picked out what she wanted. I was playing, guessing games, and I was on the money for the most part. I'm working on her bridal bag. I'll show y'all that. This is her bridal bag. Okay. And, well, you can see it better this way. All of this is vintage laces that I used on it. And I've got to get some rat tail for the drawstring on it. Well, I ordered it from Amazon and it canceled my order. So I have to order again. Why they canceled? Because it's coming from China. So I have to order from the places on Amazon that they now work with, I guess. So I had to order the rat tail again, but I need the rat tail for the drawstring to draw this up. But that's her bridal bag, and it matches her wedding dress as far as the color to the T. So, but we're still working on stuff and we're still getting it all going. I've been working on the tatted flowers. That's a process. And I've got her bouquet completely finished. And now I got to work on the bridesmaids and the maid of honors bouquets. I've got the boutonnieres for the groomsmen and the best man. And of course, my son, his boutonniere. And I've got to work on the corsages for all the ladies of the family. that was a process, Pam. You don't how many times I ripped that thing out, and all the beads that were on the vintage lace, all these beads here, they all came off. So I had to hand sew all these little beads myself back on there, because when you cut this vintage lace, they didn't knot with every bead. So when you cut your trim, all those beads just worked their way off. And by the time I got it sewed onto the bag, all the beads were off, and they was all over the floor. I had to get the vacuum cleaner out. But I had some pearls that were the same size. So if I lost any, it was no big deal. But the sequins and everything, I had sequins from here to eternity and back. And Mia, she was a sparkly mess, let me tell you. Because when I'm working like on stuff like this, she's right underneath of me. But that's for the money and stuff that they get. You know, how people give money for a wedding present and stuff, showers. And after the wedding is when they're going to open all the gifts. They're not having a bridal shower beforehand. So we got that. And her family is working on a lot of the details for the wedding. All I got was the flowers and the lace work that needed to be done, basically. And her veil, she requested that personally from me. So, yeah, I measured it out. It's only 9 feet of veil that needs to be covered with tatting, just on the edge. That's a job. I sit there and I tat while we're watching TV. And yeah, that's a process. You make a mistake, and oh boy, the fingers get tortured. So, but it's coming together. It's all coming together, and it's going to be pretty. It's going to be a beautiful wedding. And they're planning an outdoor wedding. So, my nose is itching. Um, yeah, it's going to be a huge wedding. So, but they're meant to be together. They are. But when we went up to see the kids, I had, I got 6 grandkids. Well, the girls, they were fighting over who was going to get me a drink. I never had so much water handed to me in all my life, and all I wanted was a cup of coffee. And I was going to go get it, but no, it wouldn't let Grandma go get her own coffee. So, yeah, it was fun though. I really enjoyed myself. I found out I need more lap, but that's okay. It was all worth it. Mia didn't know what to do. She stayed in her kennel the whole time because they wanted to play, and she wasn't having nothing to do with the playing. She couldn't understand why they was sitting in her mama's lap. So yeah, that was a problem. But she's not been socialized like like most dogs. You socialize them in the neighborhoods and stuff. But with us on the RV, socializing to many different people is very hard for her because she's not that type of a dog. So, needless to say, she's not very friendly to strangers that want to take up space with mom and dad. She doesn't bite, she just barks a lot. We should have named her Barks a lot. So, she doesn't like sharing. She doesn't share her toys, and she doesn't share her mom and dad. That's the rules. So, but yeah, it's all gonna work out. It's all coming together. You know about how she don't share, don't you, Pam? She's got her own mind made up on who's gonna do what and when. I often wonder. Yeah, it's like the smaller dogs, Cynthia. They're just that way. They're a one owner dog, and they don't share nothing. But I think she's got a lot of Shih Tzu leaning in her traits. She's a Maltese Shih Tzu mix, which makes her a Malshi, is what they call them. And the only thing that we've seen is her timidity and her hair. That's all that we have seen come through on the Maltese. Now, Maltese, they are a one owner dog, and but they shake a lot. And Mia shakes anything that scares her. You'd think she was doing the St. Vitus dance. She shakes that bad, and it's because she's scared, and that comes from her being very timid towards certain things. But she will get down and bark at somebody for knocking at the door, standing behind me. Do I think she'd protect me? No. She's not that type of dog. She's not a vicious dog. She's all bark, no bite. Yeah, she's a barker. Well, the landlord here that runs the campground, they brought us our mail, and she knocked on the door and said, mail, and went and opened the door. And before we knew it, Mia had took off out the door down the steps and chased her and jumped up in the golf cart with her and said, let's go. Licked her on the leg, and that was it. Hi, Kathleen. Did you get my email, sweetie? It's a fantastic. But yeah, that's my Mia. When we first got her, her groomer used to call her Mama Mia, and it fits. So yeah, she's Mama's girl. She tells me when to go to bed at night. She sits there and gives me the stare down. It's like, let's go. It's time. You need your rest. So, but she's a handful. But she's my handful, and I know it. And I wouldn't trade her for all the tea in China, to be honest with you. She's rotten. Smart as a whip, but rotten. But it's funny, if I holler for Dennis, she tells him, better get in here, Mom needs you. She starts barking, and she doesn't stop until he comes to me. Okay, I'll send it to her. Thanks. I know she'll like it. My ears are itching like crazy. I have got sinus trouble. I've been taking my allergy medicine, but everything bloomed at once. Y'all see my swollen eyeballs? You see this? They're all swollen and puffy. That is all allergies. Every time we open the door, guess where they land? Because there's the door. And here's the scar from the shingles. This is what you can see. I've got a lot of it scarring up through here, and it goes all the way to the back. But all the scabs are gone, thank God. I was glad of that. Those drove me crazy. It itched constantly, and the doctor said, don't wash your hair until the scabs come off themselves. And it was like, what? So I was using dry shampoo on scabs. Can you imagine the itch factor there? So, but anywho, it is getting close to class time. Today is probably going to be a little shorter than normal because we do have several new students in class, and we are talking very beginners. Okay. But before we get started, we all must say hello to Mary Jane. She is in the house, and she has been a busy lady. So everybody say hi, Mary Jane. For those that are new, Mary Jane is an original student of Georgia's. Okay. She is 96 years old, and she gets around better than me. Okay. I can only hope that if I live to be 96, I can get around half as good as she does. So, yeah. And she is the funniest person you will ever meet. She just keeps you laughing. So, it is a true joy to talk to her. It really is. We get on the phone, forget it. We don't get off the phone till the phones go dead. So, but she goes way back with Georgia to California when Georgia was in California. So there you go. That's many years ago. So with that, today's class. Now I will show you the pattern we're going to start on next week, because you got to have a week to get all your supplies together, okay? Because what we're doing and starting next week's an actual tag-along. We are going to walk this pattern from the beginning to the end. Beginners will be able to do this pattern, okay? It is a beginner pattern. Hi, Katia. Katia, I noticed you missed your class last week because of your streaming service. Did you know you can stream through YouTube? If that happens again, you can set up a stream through YouTube and send out a new address for your class if you'd like. Because that's what we used before I got StreamYard. The reason I went to StreamYard was because with the type of internet we use, it can get glitchy, and StreamYard can handle the glitches. Oh, your streaming computer that crashed. That's a whole other ball game. Mine crashes, I call Dennis. So there you go. But I thought it was your service. My bad. Did you get it fixed? For those of you that are new, Katia teaches the needle tatting class on her channel, the Tatting Muse. Sue Fuller teaches a design class on her YouTube channel called Sue K Creates. I know that feeling very well. So awesome. Awesome. Great news. So let's get on with it. It's now 3:02. Today I am going to, initiate some new students. We do have some new students, and they was looking forward to it. I'm sure they are a little shy. A lot of people, when they get in here in the classroom, they don't say anything because they don't know the workings and how things go. But let's get into everything. Let's do some announcements first. And announcements are this. For those of you that are new here, we run these classes strictly off of donation. Your donations go to the website. They also go to supply for the YouTube channel, the StreamYard, the email program we use. We pay for all of that. Well, I pay for all of that. Let's be real. And what we do is teach you for free in exchange for you showing up. Now, you can donate on our website. You have a donate button. You can click and you can donate whatever amount you want. It goes into its own account. You can do on YouTube. We have super stickers, super chats, and super thanks. You can do any of those. That also goes into the same account as your PayPal. That all gets paid out of that account. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do, if you cannot donate to help offset the cost, watch those commercials. Let them run. They do pay us. The classes are monetized through that. We get peanuts. We used to get pennies on the peanuts. Now we just get peanuts. We've graduated to peanuts. We're hoping that we get bigger nuts. Okay. Pecans would be great. Walnuts would be better. Okay. But right now we're getting peanuts. And every penny does count. Every penny does help. Okay. So remember that. If you can't donate, that doesn't mean you can't come to class. That means come to class and learn. Okay. We fully understand it. So with that said, that announcement's behind us. We got the homework and all that other stuff to go yet. But for right now, how many of you got your little goodie from Handy Hands? Have y'all signed up for this newsletter? I got news for you. Barb really outdoes the day with her newsletters. Look at the pattern on the back of this one. Okay. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. This is a posy. Back in the day, they called the little flowers that young men would give a lady they wanted to court a posy. And that's what they put the posy in, was a bit of lace, and it just made the lady feel so happy. But you can still use them today for other means, okay? But she does a lot of work on this newsletter. Now, she also presents crochet patterns. She also presents tatting patterns. She does both worlds. Most fiber arts people do both worlds, okay? They also do knitting. But Barb has went and done this, and you can get a whole year's subscription to her newsletter, and you get 4 newsletters a year. Okay, each season you get a new newsletter, and I believe it's like $5 to get it. I just automatically get it when I order. I say, okay, give me the newsletter, and it makes its way to me. Trust me, it takes its time to get to me, but I do get it. And all of them are very thoughtful and gone through. Now, what she's doing now are furnace tatting designs #2. Okay, now if you haven't seen any of the furnace books, please go to the Antique Pattern Library and check it out, okay? Because there are some gorgeous patterns that you can use today in the furnace books, okay? And there's all kinds of vintage tatting books up there, free for you to download, free for you to print. You cannot sell them, okay? But you can share the link for others to go get them. So get your Handy Hands newsletter. For those of you that are new, Handy Hands is a supplier along with the Twisted Picot for tatting supplies. Okay. Barb she's the owner of Handy Hands. She has the largest selection for tatting supplies together that I've seen. Okay. And it's strictly threads and tatting supplies and crochet. She's got crochet hooks and stuff, but tatters use them, okay? And you can get books and everything from her. All right, so go check her out. Check out her website. We have her linked underneath our resources. All right, now let's talk about newbies. Now, underneath the video today, I have a list of links. Okay, these are tatting videos that I personally did. The first one, the beginning tatting series, is what I did before I was working with Georgia, way before I was working for Georgia. And so needless to say, I have that channel that has both shuttle and needle beginner stuff. Okay, and then I have Georgia's channels for shuttle tatting, needle tatters, and advanced tatters. Now, for you beginners, go to any of the beginning stuff on Georgia's channels, or you can go through the beginning tatting video series. That is all basic beginners. Okay, just don't knock the videos. I was new to it. Okay, so, but the information is good. Okay, the techniques are there. Everything you need to know is there. Just remember, I was nervous. Okay, it's not every day you talk to a camera and people think, okay, what's wrong with that woman? She's talking to herself. Okay, so with that said, go there, check out those videos. It will help you get caught up. The videos for the live classes that we have been running since I took over from Georgia, those videos are mostly, you know, what we're doing in class. It'll be either technique information or it'll teach an actual technique. Those you're going to have to go through one at a time. Just pick your battlefield and go with it. But also, all those videos that on the list that I gave you that's below in the description, those are on there. So don't be confused. I put them with our videos so that I could house it all together in one. I was going to have YouTube shut down those other channels, but I'm finding that there is a use for the other channels. And it's instances like this when we get so many new students. Because if I teach how to do the double stitch 50 times in a month, my other students that are advanced is going to walk away, and we don't want to do that. Okay. Hi, Tasneem. Well, thank you, Tasneem. You're looking good yourself. I seen some of that stuff you've been sending in, girl. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Tasneem is a star student. She come to class as a person wanting to learn. Now she's practicing to be a teacher, and she's in Pakistan. We have students in here from all over the world. So just because you're here from the United States, you're not alone. We have another teacher that we're working with. She's going to be teaching beginners class in the future. Okay. And she's from Israel. And she sent me a video link to a video she did, and she's awesome. She speaks fluent English like most of the Israelis. Okay. But yeah, she's from Israel. Very sweet lady. She's been with the classes for many years. So she'll be teaching a beginner's course. Now, how cool is that? See, my job here, what Georgia put me in charge for, was to share tatting worldwide. And I told her I would. And to create teachers and designers from our classes. And I said I would. And we have. We've created both designers and teachers. In fact, Katia was a student of the classes and became a teacher. Sue is a teacher. She came to the classes as a teacher. But Sue has an art background. Now, we have another student that's in here, and we just did her pattern not too long ago. It was her first tatting pattern. But she is an actual artist. She paints animals. Forgive me if I get this all screwed up, Kathleen. She paints animals in the wild. Okay. So she is a full-fledged artist. She also does a lot of fiber art. Okay. And she's working on her own website. And I have to say, she touched my heart today. And anybody that succeeds from these classes, it touches my heart because I feel like I have done what Georgia has asked me to do for her. Okay. And then I share with her. She comes to class sometimes. Sometimes she lets me know, and sometimes she don't. So you never know when she's in here. But if I know she's coming, I'll let you all know so y'all can say hi to her. But the thing of it is, she's very proud of where these classes have gone. For you new students, she is the video up there at the top. We've got a few videos of me interviewing her. And she is so knowledgeable in tatting. I have news for you. That woman just mentally tats circles around all of us. Okay. You ought to see the hands fly. If you was lucky enough and blessed enough to see her tat in real life, that was a feat. That was a feat. I just amazed at her. Okay. I'm amazed by her abilities. But she sadly had to retire, as a lot of us do. And when you retire, you have to walk away from the things you love the most. Oh, Kathleen, thank you so much. You're so sweet. And you are a very good designer. Don't sell yourself short. That pattern was amazing. Yes, it's up on the website, folks. All right. So with that said, try the other classes. For you new students, try the other classes. Shuttle may not be your road you want to travel. You may want to travel down the road of needle. Just because you do needle doesn't matter. You know, you can still design. I'm just saying, as long as you tat and you understand the concept, you can be a designer. And there is something that is a massive shortage of: needle tatters that design. Okay. When needle tatters make a design process, they use their own way of doing things. Hi, Lisa. Lisa, we can teach you right here, but I don't know of anyone in South Africa right now. If you'll give me some time, Send your email to the online tatting class at gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can find someone in Africa, South Africa, and maybe hook you up with somebody. Who knows? You might be able to start your own lace group over there. And but yeah, I'll find somebody. I'll get a hold of International Organization of Lace Makers and see what they know. All right. So just send us an email and put in there where you want it, specific areas, okay? And we'll do it. We'll hook you up. All right, where was I? Yeah, my brains just flew out the window. I love it. Love it. Just love it. Okay, so needle tatters, that's where I was at. Needle tatters, they have to accommodate the stitch work to suit their tool. They use the same terms, but the way that they do it is different. Does that make sense? You can't bend a needle that's 6 inches long and make it do what a shuttle that's 2 inches long do. Okay, so that said, you're very welcome, Lisa. With that said, needle tatters have their own way of accomplishing what they need to do to tat. Okay, so we don't have too many needle tatters that have wrote too many tatting books and used the techniques the way that they do. Most of our needle tatters will take shuttle tatting patterns and convert them to needle. And yes, there is a difference. Okay, like I say, the terms are the same, but the way they accomplish the goal is different. Okay, and that's the big difference between the two. Some people find needle tatting easier, but others don't. Some people refuse to needle tat. They want to shuttle tat so bad that they just don't even give needle tatting a thought. I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and I'm going to tell you Georgia's thoughts. Georgia's thoughts are this: learn both tools, learn the basics of both, then pick which one you want to be your primary tool to use. Okay? If you choose to go the needle path, then go the needle path all the way. But always have your shuttle in the background, because there are patterns that are written that you just can't do with a needle. I mean, you're having to do cartwheels and flips to accomplish the goal of that pattern. And some of the best patterns out there, the ones that catch your eye and you say, I got to do that before I take my last breath, 9 times out of 10, yeah, not going to happen with a needle. Okay, because they are technically challenging for a shuttle tatter most times. All right, so needle tatters, with having to already go through the process, they just don't even tackle those bigger ones. If they do, they're a glutton for punishment. I'm just saying. All right, I know how to needle tat. I know how to shuttle tat. I do both. My preference for needle is certain techniques on needle look so much more pristine than they do on shuttle. Shuttle techniques look more pristine than needle. So I use both tools to accommodate the end result, as with most tatters. Okay? So pick your tool you want to profess with, but always work with the other tool as well, because you will find that same thing. This technique is easier with this tool versus that tool. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just because you join the classes, I'm not telling you to be a shuttle tatter. You make your decision. Now, there's some shuttle tatters that are bona fide shuttle tatters that want nothing to do with needle tatters. They got a problem. You don't. Because we welcome all tatters. If you want to tat with 2 sticks in your toes, knock yourself out. We just want you to learn how to tat. Everybody got that? Now, for you newbies, the website, it has patterns on there. Now, all those patterns you can use to make things. Okay, we haven't got them set up for beginner, intermediate, and so forth yet. I have another student, Anna. She's also a moderator for the classes. She is working with many people to tat up all the patterns, to give me a little tiny picture to sit there with the pattern. Some of the patterns, when we transferred them over, we lost the pictures and we're still trying to find the pictures. Some of them, Georgia said, call me and I'll give you the pictures if I forgot them. And she's even lost the pictures. So we're having to tat them up to get a picture for the pattern, so you can see what it looks like tatted up. And we're also working on alphabetizing them. We're working on listing them with designer. We're also going to list them by beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Okay, to make it easier for the beginners. Mind you, it's me, myself, and I mainly working on the website. I have give Sue strict orders to only work on her stuff. Okay. And the reason I did that was because Sue is overwhelmed with her classes. She's teaching 2 classes, an Inkscape class as well as a regular design class. I'm not going to hand her any more. I mean, she's up in age. She'll be 80 soon. And do you think I have the heart to say, Sue, can you work on the website too while you're at it? No. So it's me, myself, and I mainly working on the website. I also handle the classes. Okay, Pam handles email. I have the house that I manage. Okay, my husband has a superimposed full-time job working for Medicare and Medicaid. So yeah, he's always busy. In fact, he worked all weekend at his real paying job. But we have the upkeep and stuff with the rig, and that all has to be handled. Plus, I've got family that we've got the big wedding coming up. I've got things in real life that tend to get in the way. Okay, so just realize I'm getting into, yeah, Cynthia, get a hold of Anna. She'll send you some. Tell her I said to send you some. Okay. And anybody that would like to, if you're a teacher and you want to help, we don't mind you helping, but you cannot use the patterns in your classes. You have to get the pattern to use in your classes from the designer themselves. I'm not allowed to give permission for any of these patterns for someone to use in a class. I don't own the brain rights to these patterns. They do. And if you want to teach it in a public forum, you have to go and get your own permission slip. But trust me, if we have the pattern, they will share it with you. If they're not here, then we'll tell you where to go to get permission if it's available. Okay, at that point, it's hopefully the family will allow. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the next phase. For our new students, I want all of you, okay, go to the video channel, learn about the double stitch and the flip. You need to know how to do a double stitch to do the pattern we're doing next week. Now, don't be afraid. It looks very, very challenging, but it's not. It is definitely a beginner pattern. The hardest part you're going to have is joining, and we're going to teach you all that. That's why we're going to walk this through all the way. All right, from beginning to end, so you can learn how to do this, because it's a very popular pattern. We are blessed that the lady that created this pattern came from these classes. She's a very dear friend of mine. Okay, which I got a lot of tatting friends. Okay, I run with the crew, you know what I'm saying? Y'all part of my crew. But this lady here, she designed this. She didn't realize how it was going to go over, and everybody loves this pattern. And it's very easy to do, but it looks so technically challenging, and it's really not. Okay? As with most things in tatting, it's really not technically challenging. You just have to use your head and think it through. That is a key to learning to tat. Look at it, read it, comprehend what it is saying before you move forward with your class, with your education. Understand what you're doing. Okay? There's terms. We have on our resource list, there's a link to terms. Okay? Now, the terms are basic terms. Okay? Now, every tatter, when they put out a pattern, well, I'm going to back that up. The majority of tatters that put out patterns will give you a legend that explains what each technique is. Okay? What each symbol means. All right? But there is links to go get all these different forms of documents that tell you the terms. Now, when you get into the vintage books, the terms are different. Because in the vintage books, the really old ones, they didn't use chains at all in their tatting. They just did rings. And everything was stitched together. So if you find any tatting in an antique store or secondhand store and it's all frizzy, grab that. That sucker's over 100 years old. That is a piece of history. Okay? Don't look at it that it's, ooh, it's ugly, it's all fuzzy. No, it's meant to be that way. All right? Because the way they assembled it. So get your hands on it and say, oh, I got to find. Okay? To other people, they don't know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about because we're going to teach you all that. All right? So the pattern that we're going to be doing is this. Y'all see that? This is the wave set. This is Karina Mayfeld's pattern. She used to sell it. I bought it 3 times from her because I couldn't remember where I put it. And I've done this pattern many times, different colors. Okay. This pattern was written to either use it with the cotton tatting thread. Let me get some over here. Over there. Like this. This is Elizabeth. Or you can use, let me turn around here and get this other goodies. Over here you can see, I don't know, can you see this? Maybe, maybe not. Move all this stuff. My doodad boxes. These are my doodad boxes. You can use these type of threads. The metallics put out by DMC, or you can use penny thread put out by Etta Gustala in Italy, or you can use metallic threads. Okay? You can use whatever type of thread you want to do this pattern. I will tell you real quick what I use is this. This is microcord. Okay? This here I get from Marion's Jewels and Fibers. This is a sample card that shows the different sizes of microcords she carries. Okay? Now, you can get that, but for starters, I would just basically stay with the cotton tatting thread. And the reason I would do that is because you're learning. Okay? You're learning how to do this. All right? And you don't want to waste thread. Okay? Because if you waste this expensive stuff and your expensive beads, you're not going to do it for very long. Now, we don't have enough designers for this kind of work. Okay? You're limited on it. I can name all the designers that design, and this is called Ankars. I can name all of them on one hand. Your top dogs. Okay? Their patterns are tried and true. All right? So, if you want to go this avenue, talk to Sue, talk to Katia, take these courses they've got, and become a designer for Ankars, because the sky's the limit at that point. But just remember, it's hot commodity. You'll deal with parity. Now, most of your Ankars, I know y'all have seen this. You know what this is. This is machine embroidery thread. Most of your Ankars here in the States is created using 4 strands of this. The penny thread stops the 4 strands of this, because not only do you work with the 4 strands of this, but you got a metallic you got to run in there too. So that makes 5 strands of thread. You don't want to do that. Now, if you're lucky and can get your hands on this right here, this is upholstery thread. Okay. Now, this upholstery thread is a close resemblance to the Ceylon, okay, microcord. But this is the type of thread you would sew outside furniture with furniture covers. You can get that, or you, if you know somebody that has a shoe shop where they repair shoes and handbags, the thread that they use works as well. Okay, and they'll tell you where to get it. So you have many, many options with this pattern, what type of thread you want to use. But like I say, I would start strictly with the cotton tatting thread. Know that when you sweat, you get wet, the cotton stretches. When it dries, it shrinks. Keep that in mind. If you mix metallic with cotton thread, the cotton threads, as you sweat, as you get wet, it swells, gets bigger. The metallic does not. Now, what do you think metallic is going to look like on cotton thread that has grown and shrunk? Yeah. If it doesn't grow and shrink with the cotton, it's going to fight. So I don't advise using the metallic threads with cotton thread. I really don't. Now, if you're going to use it with polyester, because polyester doesn't grow and it doesn't shrink, okay? The polyester thread doesn't, okay? So if you want to use the metallic threads with polyester threads, yes. Nylon thread, same deal, okay? Yes, it doesn't have the give factor that cotton thread has. So there's 2 notes for you all to take. The next thing you're going to have to do, read the pattern. It is up under this header Ankars. It's the last pattern on that page. I'm not putting anything else on until y'all get this pattern. Okay? And it's a long pattern. So I want you to get your thread. I want you to get your beads that it requires. I want you to get your shuttle, your needle, whatever you're going to use to create this pattern. Okay? And we are going to start with the earrings. We're going to do those first. The next thing we're going to do is the bracelet. And get that done. And the last thing we'll do is the necklace. But as you get into the necklace, you're going to be so far ahead with the, technique on the earrings and the bracelet that you're going to need very little coaching. At that time, we will move into our next pattern. We'll get started getting supplies for our next pattern. But the next pattern is determined by you all. What are we going to tat along next? Are we going to do a doily pattern? Are we going to do snowflakes? We're going to do trim. What do you guys want to do? Think about it. Because the sky's the limit. Okay? If we don't have permission for a specific pattern, we will get permission if permission is available to us. All right? because we can't show patterns if we don't own a permission slip that says we can do it on video. We have enough patterns that we can do them through the classes on the class website and what we're putting up. So you tell me, I will locate it on the files because I got a lot of files I'm still trying to get up. I will locate our choices. Okay. So put in, to class. You can do it through Facebook or you can do it through email. It doesn't matter. Tell me what your next subject is going to be. If you want to continue with jewelry, we'll continue with jewelry. Okay. If you want to continue with beads, we'll continue with beads. We will do what you want to do. But remember, from here on out through summer, all right, we are going to do catalogs so that you can see how these patterns work. We can go from very minimal basic, like this one, all the way to technically challenging. The dice is in your hands. You toss them, you tell me. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to show you. And I will teach you and I will show you how to do any pattern you want to do. If you want to do baby stuff, we'll do baby stuff. Okay? Just let me know. I don't read minds. I haven't read minds in a long time. My kids thought I had eyes in the back of my head. I didn't deny it. So there you go. So whatever you want to do, the choice is yours. And, I'm going to take and put out a list. All right. One person says, I want to do this pattern. Well, I'm going to throw it out there. And then if everybody wants to do that pattern, that will be the first pattern. If you don't, you're going on the list. We're going to need a lot of patterns. You want to do some smalls? We'll do some smalls. You want to do bigs? We'll do bigs. You want to do in between? We'll do in between. You just let me know. Everybody got that? Give me a thumbs up, a wave, something. Let me know that you're ready to explore like this. Because I feel most of you are visual learners. For visual learners, they need to see it. Okay? I don't mind showing it. If you want it, I'll show it and I will teach it. Jeremy's liking that idea. Anybody else? Now, I will show you mistakes too along the way. Janella says it. Kathleen says it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Got a full group going here. You like flowers? All right. We will do flowers. We have Linda Davies did a book on flowers, and that's the book that I am using right now on the wedding stuff. A Celtic pattern. I can't do Mike Lyons stuff. He's got all of his copy written and tightened up. If it's in a book, I can't touch any book patterns unless I know the designer will allow it. Rosella Linden. I know Ruth. I'll see what Ruth let me have. We got a bunch of Ruth's patterns in the files. I'll look them up and see what we can find. But I know that we can do Linda Davies flowers. We got a bunch of her patterns. Bonnie likes it. Wow. Just for concept. Jax, we will get you some Celtic. Okay. Katia, do you know anything about Celtic tatting with a needle? Because Celtic is better with a needle. I'm here to say if you can do it with a needle rather than the Celtic shuttles, yeah, the flat ones, the flat, yeah, I got those. I like a real shuttle or a real needle. I don't like the imitation stuff. I do have some tiny, tiny shuttles coming though. Those would be good. I think I got a set of Celtic shuttles somewhere in here. I do somewhere. I got shuttles of all kinds. But we'll get you going on the concept, Jax. No worries. Now, Sue is teaching design for Celtic. And she's learning all there is to know about it. Maybe we could bring her in for the class for Celtic class. Oh, you're welcome, hon. You're very welcome. I don't mind it at all. You've been in Sue's class? Awesome. She really is a good teacher. Just have to have patience. And Lord knows that woman's got more patience than I know of. She taught me design. And that's when I decided I wasn't a designer. I was more of a teacher. I love design. I design anything I go to use for personal use is I will put rather than use somebody else's pattern, I will make my own. And she says, but why don't you design? No, I don't want to. It takes away from the other stuff that I want to do. I'm not a designer. Yeah, she has some really good classes. And she calls me and bounces ideas off my head, and she's like 20 levels above me. We could do her heart one time in class if y'all want. That's Heart's Desire pattern that she wrote. That is a fantastic pattern. I have to tell you, I just love it. That's one of my favorite heart patterns. So, but everybody's in agreement that we do it that way. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Ben. If Bennett ain't with you, it's too late. I'm sorry. You love hearts? See, there's ideas. I want to teach what you want to learn. I want to give you what you want. This is not for me. This is for you. That's why we do this. It's for you. We're pushing Georgia's legacy forward in the future. And if you're not happy, how can we push it forward? So we're going to design these classes around you guys. So, hearts and shamrocks. Jax, we've got some really pretty shamrock patterns in the files. I'll look up some. So, and work them up, if you want some more eggs, mushrooms, 3D stuff. Okay. Okay, Jax, I have a question. Are you working on something in particular that you need the 3D stuff? There is a lady, oh, what is her name? She's a very sweet lady. She just went through a bout of cancer. And I mean, her spirit was all about, being happy and seizing the day. But she's a friend of mine. I cannot for the life of me think of her name. It's just, I can't yank it off my tongue. Anyway, she went and did a complete fairy village, and everything was done in 3D. And she shared the pictures from it. It's all tatted. And it was gorgeous. It was so cute. You're doing Lee's sphere? Oh, God, those are gorgeous. I've got that pattern. It is amazing. I wished I could think of her name. I wished I could. And she lost her husband, and that's what started it. And that's how she got through her grief, was the 3D village. She had Tinkerbell and the whole 9 yards, and everything was tatted. It was absolutely amazing to see. But yeah, we can work on 3D stuff. No worries. We just can't jump in from the get go. We got to get our students apart. We don't want nobody left out. But yeah, anything Mike's got out, he's not going to let us use because he's in it for the money. We promote him because his work is just fantastic. But, I can't teach something he gets money off of. And I won't. I will never step on anybody's toes like that. You have gaps in your basics. Jacks, we all have gaps in the basics. That's what happens. And I'll fill them. I'll fill what I can. If I don't know it, give me some time. I'll find somebody that does. And I'll bring them in. I mean, I just drag them right on here and just we'll do it. Did you see the class that Richard Embry taught for helix tatting? Now, a lot of his stuff is three-dimensional. I am not one that can work with 20 different shuttles. I get confused with two pair of shoes. So, yeah, we're not going to do that. It is amazing. Yeah, he is the first tatter I ever met that counted every stitch in a pattern. Mike? Teresa, what's Mike's last name? I can't think what his last name is. Mike Lyons. That's it. He used to come to Tat Days. I don't know if he's coming this year or not. The other guys. Let's see. There's, well, Reed, bless her. Her sister used to do a lot of 3D work. And I don't know. There's so many designers out there. Yeah, Mike Lyon is the biggie. The Shuttle brothers, Randy Houts. He does a lot of tatting. Um, Richard Embry does a lot of tatting. I could go on. I'd have to think it through. Well, I got a library back here, and you think I'd know everybody, but I don't. Mark Myers, thank you. Mark's not doing the tatting now. He's into the bobbin lace, and he's just not tatting, shuttle tatting anymore. But he was the forefront of patterns before. Now his patterns are on Facebook. You can go and look on his Facebook page. The Haberdashery is another place you can look. That is on Etsy. You can get his patterns through there. And Mark Myers was real close to Georgia. Georgia called him her adopted son. Yeah, I know. Bobbin lace, they use so many of them little dangly things. Them little dangly things would just, be all over the house. I'd never go. That wouldn't happen. I'm not one that if you give me too many things in my hands, I can maneuver it. I keep my nails cut because they just get in my way, but they grow so fast. Can you imagine getting them dangly things caught up in these claws? I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. Monique does bobbin lace, and she sent me for my birthday last year a little bookmark that she had made. It was gorgeous. And it's like, it's so tiny. The thread is so thin and tiny. And for to come up with a bookmark that was that gorgeous, it was just mind blown. It's beautiful. I won't lie to you, it's beautiful. And if I had the type of patience to work it, I probably would. But I don't have that kind of patience. My kids ran my patience thin. I had 3 boys, trust me. And I actually had 5 children. 3 of them were adopted. And well, my 3 and then the other 2 were adopted. So they should have been adopted, to be honest with you. But they were all boys. And if y'all know anything about boys, there's not a tree 500 miles from us that has not been climbed. There's not a rock within 500 miles that hasn't been thrown. My oldest shot out my bay window with a BB gun because him and his friend across the street were having cowboys and Indians. And, boys. I come home and they'd shot off bottle rockets in the living room. Need I say more? So yeah, boys will drive you crazy. So yeah, my patience ran out a long time ago with that. I have patience now, but nothing like what I used to have, because I'm surprised my kids are still alive. They are too, I'm sure. But that's just kids. That's part of having kids. You expect the good, the bad, and the ugly. 9 times out of 10, you get the bad and the ugly. Just saying, especially with boys. I've heard tell that girls can be just as bad. So there's that. I wanted a girl, but after 3 boys and adopting 2, You found bobbin lace fairly easy following a library book, but could not follow for tatting. I think, Lisa, the reason you couldn't follow it for tatting is because it was not in 3 dimensional. Tatting is more 3 dimensional work than bobbin lace is. Even though it's all flat, well, tatting could be 3 dimensional. It depends on your work you're doing. But bobbin lace is just, a pattern, and you're following the pattern on a board. Whereas tatting, you get a paper pattern like this, and you got to convert this paper pattern to thread. So that's the big difference. That's what makes it 3 dimensional. Bobbin lace is 1 dimensional. It shows in 3 dimensional, but it's done in 1 dimensional. Does that make sense to y'all? But bobbin lace is beautiful. I have seen some of the prettiest bobbin lace that you could lay your eyes on, and it's like, oh my gosh. And the person that does this just flips some things around, just like, nothing to it. I'm like, mm-hmm. How do you know that one goes over there? How do you know it don't come back over here? See, I'd have to have numbers, and then I'd forget what number I was on. That's why I don't do tatting that requires more than 4 shuttles, because after 4, I can't count any higher. So, but yeah, y'all make up your minds. Now we've got a good 3-4 classes out of this one, so we got to have something planned up for the next class. So y'all guys get together, start throwing me out some patterns you'd like to try. We've got Celtic here, and let's see, 3 dimensional. We got all kinds of goodies to start with, hearts and things like that. But after we do this one, we're going to work with something that's a little lighter in technique before we go diving into something that's more technically challenging. And I think if we mix the good with the hard, the easy and the hard, break it up, you'll see how to plan your attack on your own projects. Yeah, it is one of my favorites. And it's because it's what I call mindless tatting. When I say I'm doing mindless tatting, the pattern is that easy. I mean, it's 1 stitch count, keep it in your head, and just go to town. Like the pattern I'm doing for the trim on the bridal veil. That is mindless tatting. Okay. Anytime you get a pattern like that, that is a good pattern to decompose. Okay. To break down and relax. And you get stressed, pick up a mindless tatting project. The stress goes away. Of course, the tatting takes the blunt of the stress. Remember, it's going to be tight, it's going to be stiff, and it's meant to be that way. That is your stress reliever. I have tatting that is my stress reliever. When I get to the point I'm stretched to the max, I pull it out and I tat to relax myself down. It's like somebody that, needs a break. That's how they get through it. Okay. Show me how to tat. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I taught my mom how to tat, Lisa, about 2 years before she passed. So I know she wanted to learn, and she could crochet, she couldn't knit. She could sew, but she couldn't tat. And when she told me that she wanted to learn to tat all of her life, I said, well, let me show you how. And when she moved in with us, that's what I did, was I taught her how to tat. And I was so thankful I could do that. And she learned right before she ended up in the nursing home and dementia took over. So, yeah. But I'm sorry for your loss. It's hard when you lose your mom. Well, let's make new memories, Lisa. Everything you tat for your mom. Even though she's not here, keep it in your doodads box. And every time you start to miss her, pick up your doodads box and say, Mom, look what I made, and talk to her. It will help. That it will. So it is 3:56, folks. No, we didn't tat today, but you will have all your goodies for class next week on Tuesday. Same time, same channel. All right. I will send you the link for next week's class. We tried the permalink thing with the StreamYard. And the problem is it wants to keep all the settings for everything. You can't change the date. You can't change the title. You can't change. There's things in there you can't change that change naturally every week. Okay. Pam just posted the pattern link. You click on that, print it out, and have it ready for class next week, along with your supplies, because you're going to need your supplies. All right. Supplies are one shuttle. That's all that's required for this. A pair of scissors. That's all that's required. One pair of scissors and one shuttle. You need one crochet hook that goes with that pair of scissors and that shuttle. Okay. Now, for new tatters, what you're going to need is size 10 thread, a shuttle. Okay. The crochet hook you're going to use with that will be, I'm thinking a size 12 crochet hook, steel. Okay. And we'll go from there. Get your beads to fit your thread. All right. If you're going to use a size 10 thread, you're going to need a bead that's got a pretty decent sized hole, probably an 8. 8/0 is what it's called. For a size 20 thread, you need a 11/0 to a 10/0. Okay. So match your beads to your thread. That's what you need. You need your shuttle, you need your thread, you need your beads. Something to string your beads on with. Okay? So think about everything, but read the pattern through. I want you to familiarize yourself with the pattern. For those of you that are new to this game, don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, how do you ask questions? You send in an email and I'll get back to you that day. Okay. Now, if you send an email early in the morning, say at 2 o'clock in the morning, no, my eyeballs are being checked out by my eyelids. Okay. So be sure to send me an email. I will get back to you that day. If you don't hear from me that day, remember, the day's not over. You will hear from me, maybe later in the evening, especially if I'm busy, but I will get back with you. If you have a question on this pattern and you need some advice or anything, anytime you have questions, don't hesitate to write me. I do get back pretty fast on it. All right. Don't like leaving people hanging in the wind. All right. I'm not that kind of teacher. You got a question, I'm here to answer it. All right. So with that said, I will see you guys next week with your supplies ready to tat. All right. I'm going to teach you all everything that it takes to do this pattern. And even you newest beginners are going to be able to do it. Well, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Jax. I want to thank all of you for coming, and I will see you next week. I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Read your pattern through and be ready to tat next Tuesday. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell. If you hit the notification bell, mark for all, and it will notify you. YouTube will, as soon as I put up the link. And then you just click on that link YouTube sent you, and you're in class, because it's 3 o'clock Eastern time every week on Tuesday. Doesn't change. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one, and may all your threads make beautiful lace. Happy tatting, everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.